report. All rise. Please be seated.
Yes.
Judge, you had asked us a while back to give expert information to you.
Right.
We did that, but we did it with a whole lot of expert SWEB, DNA, trace, whatever we have. This is just an isolated version of a witness named Bill Williams that we'll have in the next day or two. And I thought it would be easier for y'all to have this
Okay.
concise format that they're in.
All right, we appreciate it. Anything else? Where's our witness?
I believe he must be outside, Your Honor, but I have not checked.
He is outside.
Yes, sir.
Inquire this witness if he's had any contact from anybody when he first left the court.
Okay, we'll do. Mr. Witness, come on. Mr. Brown, did you discuss your testimony with anyone during the lunch break?
No, sir, I did not.
All right. You can bring the jury, please.
All jurors present, Your Honor.
Hey, thank you. Welcome back. Any objection to that last exhibit?
Your Honor, I don't think that I got States 23, which was the watching. Objection to the watch. Yes.
Mr. Savage was looking through a wallet.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Are there any objections to that exhibit?
No, I think it's,
We have agreed to remove the contents, Your Honor.
All right.
What was that?
We have agreed to remove the contents.
It is admitted.
State's Exhibit number 24. Moving on, Mr. Brown, and what's been marked as State's Exhibits 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32. Excuse me. And ask if you can identify those names.
Yes, sir, I do recognize these.
And what are those items, sir?
This would be cartridge cases I've collected. They've been packaged in original packaging. The original packaging is included here. It has my seal when the time's collected along with the lab number. The only differentiation is there's a different packaging with the lab number and another examiner's initials with the cartridge case removed from the original packaging, but it's in the same package here.
And what are the caliber of those shell casings, sir?
Our head stamped R-P45 Auto,
And that designates what caliber?
45 caliber.
And are those items in substantially the same condition now as they were when you collected them on the afternoon of August the 4th of 2015?
Yes, sir, they are.
Your Honor, we would offer State's Exhibits 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, and 32 at this time. And if you would, could you tell the jury from State's Exhibit 16 where those shell casings were collected from?
Yes, they were.
And the marker numbers if you have.
Yes, sir. Their markers number 8 through 11, 13 through 15, and 18. So the markers 8 through 11 are in this general area here. So you have 8, there's 11, 13, 14, 15, 10's up here, 18, and then 12 was back here.
12 was something else.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Yes, 12 was something else. So 8 through 11, 13 through 15, and then number 18.
So they're on that little group right
Yes,
there?
it's all a little grouping right here. Correct. Yes,
To
sir.
the right of that car that's designated as 226.
Yes, sir. In that grassy area.
State's Exhibit number 33. From marker 12, could you tell us what that is? Yes, ma'am, 33.
Yes, this is a piece of what appeared to be taser plastic. The wire that comes out of the taser cartridge, as it's dispersed, there's a clear type wrapper, if you will, that kind of holds it in an accordion-like fashion while it's in the actual cartridge. And this is what appeared to be the actual plastic, clear plastic piece that came off of that accordion wire as it was being dispensed.
And where did you collect that item, State's Exhibit number 33?
And this was collected from marker 12, which would be indicated by the 12 as this marker.
And is it in substantially the same condition now as it was when you collected?
Yes, sir, it is.
Your Honor, we would offer stage 33. Would that be- Angie, what's been marked as states of Exhibit 34, ask if you recognize that. Tell us what it is.
Yes, this was a taser cartridge with some wire still attached. And this was sealed in my packaging with my seal, my initials, and information on the date it was collected along with Agent Johnson's information.
That would have been collected from marker 16?
Yes, sir, it's collected from marker 16.
And does that appear in substantially the same condition now as it did when you collected it, sir?
Yes, sir, it does.
Your Honor, we would offer states 34 in the evidence if there's no objection. Is that okay?
Submit it.
Please point out to the jury where that item is correct.
Yes, sir. Marker 16 is indicated in this area here, just below the decedent's feet.
Okay. And finally, I hand you what's been marked as state's exhibit number 35. Ask if you recognize that item.
Yes, sir.
What's that?
This will appear to be the cell phone that was located near the decedent. We identified it near marker 17, I believe is what we placed beside it. I recognize, I remember it was an LG phone, I remember the screen was cracked. So I recognize by that, along with the packaging that's included with it, has my information from when it was collected.
And does that item appear to be in substantially the same condition now as when you collected it?
Visually, yes.
We would offer states 35.
With that objection.
Submit it without objection.
Now, prior to collecting all that evidence and packaging it, were photos taken of them in their place?
Yes, sir.
If you would, I would like to go through some photographs with you now. I believe which are already in evidence, states 102 through states 134. And have you described what these photographs depict?
Yes, sir. This area here would be if you were,
Please
look-
feel free to stand up if
Okay.
you need to.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. This area here would be depicting marker 1, so Craig Road would be back to your right to orient yourself. Craig Road would be to your right, the Megapone would be back to your left. You see where marker 1 is indicated there with the marker. You can see some more of these white cards that have been placed by North Charleston PD to try to indicate things that they believe were evidentiary. Like I said, some of these had blown around due to the weather and the wind. You can also see marker 2 in the photograph, just beyond that up there near the grass.
And what were you trying to mark there with marker 1?
Generally, I was trying to do an overall shot of just where evidence was in relation with a marker number, but I believe this was one of the taser deployment events at marker 1 and number 2, and so I'd put in the general area where we'd found some of the aphids and I believe some of the wire.
Okay, so marker 1 includes all those things that are around marker 1?
Correct. Yeah, a lot of those things were, initially, I believe they'd been placed on some of that confetti or the aphids. Some of them had blown off and were not in the same area, but generally that's what they were marking.
Okay, let's go to states 103.
Here again, this would be with Craig Road to my back, looking at marker 1. Beyond marker 1 would be the mega pond. And there again, this is just a overall photo from a different angle depicting marker 1 in the general area around it with the items.
So States 104. And what is this item right here?
This is a more of a mid-range shot, but depicting what I was describing as one of the 8 vids that you can see. It's more of like a confetti, but the confetti does have serial numbers that tie back to the cartridge. And so that's what I was photographing at this point to show that those were scattered in this particular area.
105.
There again, this is kind of into the grassy area, more of a close-up shot, but again, another one of the 8 vids here. You can actually see the serial number depicted on one of those pieces of confetti. This is another indication there again of a taser deployment. This is a taser door off of the taser cartridge itself, and this is a close-up shot of that.
107.
Again, closer to the actual marker 1 where it was depicted another 8 vid that had been previously marked, believed to be by North Charleston PD with one of the little white cards.
108.
This here again is another taser door.
And moving on to marker 2. This is State's Exhibit 109. Can you see marker 2 in this photograph?
Yes, sir, you can. Here again, another shot where you can see marker 1, but you can also see marker 2 over closer to the grassy area. There again, orient yourself. This photo is taken looking toward the mega pond with your back to Fred Road.
And that's marker 2 up at the top of the screen.
That is correct, sir.
And what are you using marker 2 to mark, sir?
There was some other taser evidence there, would believe to be taser evidence there.
States 110.
There, and there's another overall shot showing the that blue line, if you will, or speed hump, and showing that in relationship to where marker 2 was, and you can start seeing some of the pieces that have been marked from the marker 1 deployment.
And marker 2 was actually a taser probe and wire, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Do you know why there's not a close-up of that particular?
Honestly, I do not. It could have been something that could have easily been overlooked.
States 111.
This here is an overall range showing further down the scene on the yellow road. There again, orient yourself. Craig Road would be to your right in this photo. And then, of course, the back of Megapalm would be to your left. You can see the markers 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 over here in the center of the area, yellow road. And then, of course, you have the cartridge casings marked here, 8, 10, 11, 13, 15, 19, or 9, 18, and 10, and then of course you see marker 12 indicated further back here.
States Exhibit number 112.
This is again, if you were standing, orienting yourself, you're on the left side of the grass area, but you're facing the yellow way, Craig Road to your right, Megapalm to your left, looking at the general area near where the patrol car was parked in the center of this yellow roadway, and there again depicting the different markers. You see marker 3, which looks like there's a taser door over there with it. Not sure what that center marker is, but that, I believe marker 4. And that should be what appears to be a taser cartridge. And then at marker 5, you can see what appears to be another taser door there on the ground. Marker 6 being the navy blue leather hat. 7 was the wallet and watch. And then, of course, you have the cartridge casings in the grassy area, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 13, 14, 15, and 18.
Okay, and the States 113.
This would be orienting yourself now. You're looking with your back facing the Megapalm, looking toward Craig Road down the yellow road. And this is showing the area of the cartridge cases. It's an overall view, essentially, of the yellow road and the cartridge cases. This, I was trying to capture the relationship of the cartridge cases to the evidence on the yellow road. You still see marker 12 is about the furthest piece you can see down the yellow road.
State 114.
And this is a close-up with marker 3 showing the taser door.
State 115.
This will be a close-up with marker 4 showing the taser cartridge and some taser wire.
State 116.
This again would be another taser door and what appears to be a AFib.
And as a general rule, taser cartridge has how many taser doors on it?
2.
Stage 117.
Here you see marker 6, which is the navy blue hat, marker 7, the wallet and the watch, and you can see our first cartridge case at marker 8, and then you can still see the other items previously depicted, markers 3, 4, and 5.
118.
118, this again is orient yourself. Now we're looking at the items in the center of the yellow road, Craig Road to your right, Megaphone to your left. Marker 7, the wallet and the watch, marker 6, the leather hat, and then the cartridge cases depicted in the grassy area near the yellow road.
Stage 119.
Close up of marker 7 depicting the black wallet and the watch.
Stage 120.
This was showing after we picked up the wallet and we inventory it. If there is monetary or cash or any type of financial stuff in it, we want to document that. So this is us opening the wallet and examining to inventory the contents.
And in addition to that cash, were there some cards and other things located in that wallet,
Yes, sir, there was.
which have been removed now?
As far as I know, yes, sir.
Stage 121.
There again, this was us showing, our policy is that we, any cash, we take a photograph of it and get a close enough photo that we can contact or have document the serial numbers and the amount of the denomination. So this is a photo of holding the amount of money out and being able to document the serial numbers on each bill. I apologize. This is a photograph of the money that was retrieved from the wallet from marker 7. This is depicting the denominations along with the serial numbers of each bill and denomination that was recovered. This is a close-up of marker 8 and the cartridge case from that location.
123.
A close-up of marker 9 and that cartridge case.
124.
Marker 10 and that cartridge case. This here again is another attempt that the police department had made prior where they had placed one of their pieces of paper over the item to try and mark it prior to us arriving. And so we left it in that particular environment when we had to remark it.
125.
Marker 11, close-up of marker 11, that cartridge case, and again another pre-marked piece of paper.
126.
Marker 13 and that cartridge case.
127.
Marker 14 and that cartridge case. This one is kind of hidden in the grassy area, but that's it right there. And you can still, another pre-marked piece of paper is there just below it.
128.
Marker 15 and that cartridge case.
129.
Marker 18 and that cartridge case. Again, in some debris, but it's right there at the bottom of the marker.
130.
This is an overall scene after the decedent has been removed. The lieutenant is still up, but it's depicting where marker 16 was in relation to the tent. You can also barely see it, but marker 17 is also marked inside the tent area as well. of course, marker 16 being where the taser cartridge was located, and then marker 17 being where the cell phone was located.
131.
131 would be you're standing near the tent area, looking toward the yellow road. Craig Road is back to your right. Megapond is back to your left. You can see marker 16 with the taser cartridge there to your right. There's also some medical debris located just beyond marker 16. Of course, you can see the patrol car, North Charleston patrol car in the middle of the yellow road. You can also see some of the other markers that have been previously mentioned.
On the other side of the patrol car.
Yes, sir.
Stage 132.
That's a close-up of marker 16 and the taser cartridge, and you can see some of the wire coming from the cartridge.
Stage 133.
There again, this is a mid-range view showing the area in relation to marker 16 and marker 17. Marker 16 being the taser cartridge, 17 being the cell phone underneath the tent. You see the blue tent, you can see some of the medical debris, a medical kit that was used, etc.
And if you remember, do you recall what item is right here?
I'm sorry, what, sir? Sir?
Do you see what the cursor is? Do you know what this item is right there?
Honestly, I do not know.
And finally, 134.
This is a close-up view of the LG cell phone. As you can see where the corner of the screen was trapped in this particular area.
Thank you.
Part of the examination.
Actually, I'm not through yet, unfortunately. Now, your crime,
I thought you were through.
you were just hoping. Your crime scene report indicates y'all did a final walkthrough of the crime scene, and a decision was made to test the taser and taser cartridges for DNA rather than fingerprints. Who made that decision?
We discussed it as a group, as a whole, but the final decision came from Captain Neal. He decided that would be the best way to move forward.
And why is that?
It was believed that the DNA evidence would be more probative in this particular case, as opposed to retrieving fingerprints on the item.
And does trying to obtain fingerprints affect your ability to obtain sufficient DNA to do a DNA analysis?
It can. There have been studies where you can still retract some DNA after processing for fingerprints, but it's preferred if you can get DNA first to try to do that first as opposed to fingerprint processing.
Now, what time did y'all finish at the scene there in the vacant lot off of Craig Street?
Let me refer to my notes, please. Showing that we were cleared from there approximately 15:50 hours or 3:50 in the afternoon.
And all of this evidence, you maintain possession of that?
Correct. It was secured and placed in my vehicle and secured in my vehicle.
Now, I believe your associate, Ms. Johnson, also collected some evidence from North Charleston Police Department relative to this case.
That is correct, sir.
And that would include Officer Slager's pistol and taser and his uniform?
Yes, sir.
And were those items turned over to your custody as well?
Yes, sir. Once she arrived at the scene, she transferred them to my custody.
And what did you end up doing with all the evidence that you and Ms. Johnson had collected that day? What was done with the evidence?
Obviously, we transported it to the State Crime Laboratory. It was documented there and placed in our login system. And then again, of course, different departments, evidence had to go to certain departments, so we arranged to have evidence transferred to the respective departments that it needed to go to.
Okay, we'll get into that in a little more detail later. But where did you and Ms. Johnson go after you finished at the scene of the shooting?
It was established to remove the two vehicles, Officer Slager's vehicle and the decedent's vehicle, from the scene. They decided to move those to a warehouse facility operated by the city of Charleston, or North Charleston, and we went to that area where they were secured to do more of a thorough look through them and search them thoroughly and document them better.
And were the vehicles searched?
Yes, they were.
And you were searching for any, what kind of evidence?
Anything relative to an officer-involved shooting and relative to the initiated stop, anything contraband related that could have been a reason that the decedent may have fled. So anything at that point, anything. And we searched both vehicles just to be fair.
And did you find anything?
No, we did not.
Specifically, did you find anything in the Mercedes in terms of contraband?
Nothing in the way of contraband. There was some parts to a motorcycle in a trunk and I believe an Xbox, but those were ran by North Charleston to make sure they weren't, stolen and they didn't come back as being stolen that I was made aware of.
Didn't find any drugs, did you?
No, sir.
And what did you do with the black LG phone that was located at the scene?
That particular phone and also I believe a couple sets of keys were transferred to the custody of Agent Peterson.
And Agent Peterson is the case agent for the State Law Enforcement Division.
That is correct, sir.
Let's move on to the next day, Sunday, April the 5th. Did you and Ms. Johnson have the occasion to examine Mr. Slager's, Officer Slager's uniform?
Yes, we did, sir.
For what purpose?
Given the information that there had been some kind of altercation that had occurred, we just wanted to do a more close-up examination in the laboratory to see if there was any more evidence or anything that could be documented to corroborate that there had been a struggle or had not been a struggle.
And what did you find from just the visual examination of the uniform?
I'm going to refer to my notes if you don't mind.
Sure.
On the officer's pants, it had visible signs of being in contact with a dirty surface on the knee areas. They were scuffed in the knee areas. There was suspected blood was observed on the front right chest area of the officer's shirt and also on the left front leg of the officer's pants. Those are two areas that were suspected. Blood was located. Those areas were swabbed for DNA and submitted to the DNA department for further analysis.
Who swabbed those items for blood?
And myself and Agent Johnson.
And after Agent Johnson swabbed the blood, were the swabs transferred to your possession?
Yes, they were. When we're working in tandem, a lot of times one may be swabbing, and after she swabs them, I might air dry them and then package them, seal them, and then obviously place them in the appropriate package that needs to go to the next department.
Other than the dirt you found on the knee and the blood that you've already talked about, did you see, was there any visible evidence of anything else concerning Officer Slager's uniform which would indicate to you that a taser had been used on it?
There was nothing that I could identify of that.
Were you looking for something like that at the time?
Given the fact we knew that a taser was involved, we were trying to see if we could see in that. At the time, I know there are studies now, but at the time I wasn't aware of any studies of what you could see from a taser. But I was trying to see any. At this point, I was looking for anything. If I would have seen a nick or a lapel or whatever you call that thing on the shoulder, if it would have been torn, anything like that, just wanted to document any little thing that could have been later examined further.
Okay. And did you take photographs at the time that you examined Officer Slager's uniform?
Yes, sir, I did.
I'd like to show you the states 135 to 140, I believe, which are already known. Let's start with states 135.
So this would be an overall view of the front of Officer Slager's shirt.
Okay, 136.
This would be an area up on the front right side near the front right pocket of Officer Slager's shirt.
Is that the area that was swabbed for potential blood?
Yes, sir.
Is that what those little rulers are marked?
Yeah, it was the ruler placed down to depict the area. Obviously, with this type of substrate, you could see better with the naked eye than you can in a photograph. But that was the area that we could see the suspected blood area.
And that was the area that was swabbed by Ms. Johnson, Agent Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Stage 137.
This will be an overall view of the backside of Officer Slager's shirt.
Stage 138.
This would be an overall view of the front of Officer Slager's pants, uniform pants.
And is this the spot that you were talking about that appeared to have been in contact with the ground?
Yes, sir.
139. What is that?
And this area is another area of suspected blood. There again, you can't see it that clear in the photo. It's better with the naked eye. You might be able to see it very faintly.
Right in this area?
Yes, sir. Very faintly in that area was area of suspected blood that we had swabbed as well.
And 140.
And this was the backside of Officer Slager's pants.
Did you also examine Mr. Scott's clothing that day?
Yes, sir, we did.
And what was the condition of his clothing?
By the time we received them, they were saturated from remnants from autopsy. So it made them rather difficult, so we had to let them dry a little bit before we could examine them further.
Saturated with what?
Blood.
And obviously, the shirts had been cut off of him, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Were you able to observe any defects consistent with having been caused by gunshots?
Yes, sir, there were some defects that were observed on the back right sides of both the shirt and the pants.
Was there any effort made to determine whether there was any soot or stippling adjacent to the defects in the clothing?
We examined them as close as possible with the naked eye and could not see any evidence of soot or stippling around those particular defects.
What is soot and stippling?
Guns or bullets or cartridges are composed of what we know as GSR gunshot residue. This residue has everything from lead, barium, and antimony, which are various chemical components that are used to make up gunpowder, if you will. As a cartridge is discharged and fired and a projectile is expelled from the cartridge, this powder and this residue, if you will, kind of expands from beyond the barrel of the firearm, and therefore it can be deposited. So if you have a case where you're looking for a person that might have been shot at close range, you usually can use guides as soot or stippling around a particular defect to see if there had been a range where you can determine a particular range that might have been when the shot was fired. It's very limited as what you can do with range determination, because usually anything beyond 36 inches, you're going to get a default where the powder or the residue is just going to fall off. So usually anything beyond 36 inches away from a target, you're not going to see soot or stippling around a defect.
Okay. Now,
I'm gonna hand you what's been marked as 36, states 36, 37, and 38. Let's start with 36 and 37. And can you identify those as being the swabs from Officer Slager's uniform? 36 being the swab of the shirt and 37 being the swab from the pants.
Yes, these will be the swabs collected.
And those were collected by Ms. Johnson and turned over to you, is that correct?
That's correct. They have her seal and information on the actual swabs, and then my initials and information is on the final packaging prior to going to the different department.
And how about states 38? You recognize that as being the swabs from Officer Slager's taser?
And these are not swabs that I collected.
Yes, that Ms. Johnson collected, correct?
Yes, they're swabs from the taser that she collected.
And those were turned over to you as well, is correct? On April the 5th, Sunday, April the 5th.
They have there's some other additional stuff in here. It looks like it's been placed by another examiner. Also a FedEx envelope, which I'm not sure what that's from, but the original,
Somewhere, I'm just saying the envelope that those contained those swabs was turned over to you by.
that is correct. And the original bag that it was placed in is correct.
Okay, and those items were sealed and labeled when they came into your possession, is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Did you open them or alter or tamper with the items in any manner?
No, sir.
Now, also that same day, moving on to about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, did you have the occasion to receive some additional evidence collected by Agent Don Clayton from Mr. Walter Scott's autopsy?
Yes, she attended the autopsy for us and retrieved some evidence from there.
I hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 39, labeled as one fired bullet from the abdominal Walter Scott. Asked if you recognize that item.
Yes, I do.
And was that one of the items turned over to you by Ms. Clayton?
Yes, it was.
State's Exhibit 40, described as one fired bullet from the left anterior chest of Walter Scott.
Yes, it does.
Also for Ms. Clayton.
Yes.
State's Exhibit 41, one bullet jacket from the pericardium of Walter Scott.
Yes, sir.
State's 42, one fired bullet from the anterior right hip of Walter Scott.
Yes, sir.
State's 43, described as one blood spot card from the autopsy of Walter Scott.
Yes, sir.
And States 44 and 45, described as envelopes with right fingernail clippings and left fingernail clippings from the autopsy of Walter Scott.
Yes, sir.
All of those items properly sealed and labeled when they came to your possession.
Yes, sir.
Did you alter or tamper with them in any fashion while they were in your possession?
No, sir.
Now, you had indicated that previously, on the previous day, you had received from Ms. Johnson Officer Slager's Glock handgun, correct?
That is correct, sir.
And that included a magazine,
Yes, sir.
6 rounds,
Yes, sir.
and what did you do
with regard to that weapon, what did you do with that weapon? States 25 through 32, which are the shell casings that you previously identified, collected from the scene. And states 39, 40, 41, and 42, the fired bullets received from the autopsy.
All of that would have been transferred to our firearms department for them to conduct an analysis.
And do your notes indicate who you delivered those items to?
Give me 1 second to refer to. I believe it was Tracy Thrower.
Who is Tracy Thrower?
At the time, he was the lieutenant of the firearms department.
He's a firearms examiner, or what some people call a ballistics examiner.
Yes, sir.
Okay, with regard to states 36 and 37, which are the swabs from Officer Slager's uniform. States 38, which are the swabs from the taser. States 43, which is the blood spot card obtained from Mr. Scott's autopsy. States 44, the envelope with his right fingernail, Scott's right fingernail clippings, and 45, the envelope with his left fingernail clippings. What did you do with those items?
Those would have been transferred to the DNA department.
And turned over to who, sir?
I believe Stuart Smith is the examiner.
Samuel Stewart?
Samuel Stewart, I apologize, Samuel
Who
Stewart.
is Samuel Stewart?
He's a forensic scientist in the DNA department.
He's the DNA analyst.
Yes, sir.
Moving ahead to April the 21st, did you have the occasion to receive some additional evidence from Agent Jamie Johnson relative to this case? Consisting of 2 fired bullets.
Yes, I did.
And those would be, remember if you received from Mr. Johnson, all that?
Yes, that is correct.
And were they all packaged and labeled when they came into your possession?
Yes, sir, they were.
Did you tamper with them in any manner while they were in your possession?
No, sir, I did not.
And what did you do with those items on April the 21st of 2015?
These, again, were transferred to the firearms department so they could use in their analysis.
And transferred directly to Tracy Thrower?
Yes, sir.
Finally, that same day, what did you and Ms. Johnson do with the taser cartridges and aphids which had been collected from the shooting scene?
We decided to see if we could further examine the aphids to determine, based on where the cartridges were found in the crime scene, if there was some way we could analyze the aphids microscopically and compare the serial numbers to that of the serial numbers of the cartridge that they were deployed from. So that's what we did. We actually went to our trace department, or not our trace department, our question documents department that has a high-power microscope. We used that to look closely at the serial numbers, and we began to examine the serial numbers and compare the serial numbers on the aphids to the serial numbers on the actual taser cartridge.
And what were you able to conclude?
We were able to conclude that the aphids that were located or retrieved from marker 1.
And you may, if you could, just refer to that crime scene diagram if it would assist you.
All right, the aphids retrieved from marker 1 were consistent with the cartridge from marker 4. So we found aphids here at marker 1, the cartridge located here at marker 4.
Okay, and how about the aphids that you located?
The aphids that were found around marker 4 were consistent with the cartridge found at marker 16. So if you remember, around this cartridge, we also found some more aphids. The aphids that were around this cartridge didn't belong to that particular cartridge. They belonged to the cartridge here at marker 16.
Okay.
Stand for a moment. We'll take a few minutes. Please go to the jury room. Please do not discuss the case. We'll be in recess.